Hello everyone, this is Professor Richard Amadeus Harris III. This video is going to show one way to find peer-reviewed journal sources. First things first, let's take a look at our homepage. If anything, our homepage looks very similar to this. The first part is I'm going to show you a few ways to find the assignment. So since I haven't done the assignment, the first place you'll notice is that it's over on the right-hand side, which reads under the to-do, peer-reviewed journal sources. So that's the first way you can find the assignment if we haven't done it. So I'm just going to pop them open in another tab. Looking at the top tab, here is the actual assignment. So that's one way. The next way is to open up the modules. And I created this module relatively recently as another quick way to find the assignments since the assignment tab is hidden. Pop open the modules. Now I'm just going to quickly just scroll to the very bottom. Here we go. Here's assignment, peer-reviewed journal articles. Here it is. I pop them open in another tab. It's going to populate here in a few moments. And here it is. So another way to find the assignment is to open up the syllabus. So if you choose the syllabus, every single assignment that's published with a due date will populate at the very bottom of the syllabus. So we'll scroll down to the bottom of the syllabus, and here it is. Pop it open. There's a tab with the assignment. The fourth way is to open up the calendar. So if there's an assignment that is published and created in the syllabus, it also populates in the calendar as well. Now granted, we'd have to know the due date. And looking at these other assignments, we can see it's due on November 1st. Let me ensure that I'm on November. Oh good, yes I am. Because if I was on October, which I am, I cannot see it. So let me scroll over to November. Here's the assignment right here. I select it. Here's a little description of the assignment. I click the tab at the top and it leads me to the assignment. So for future reference with virtually at least any Canvas class, if the assignment is published, then you can find it in the syllabus and the calendar. Also, if anyone hasn't submitted the assignment, then it'll also show up on the to-do side. Alrighty, so here we are. So we have the assignment as far as finding the peer-reviewed journal articles. So once you find the sources, you'll press the submit assignment button right here. But first things first, we need to find the actual sources. So here's a description of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting at least 3 peer-reviewed journal articles for your research paper. These articles will hopefully answer your question. Now I'll mention it right now, and hopefully I'll mention it again at the end of the video. Most of the articles that you find more than likely won't answer your specific question. The reason is your question is so nuanced and so specific, the only way you would be able to answer it is if you actually go out and conduct the methods yourself. I'm not asking for that at all. This isn't a research methods course. If it was, I would expect us to go out and conduct the research, but we're not going to. So here's a description. Here's a file showing the difference between peer-reviewed and non-peer-reviewed sources. So peer-reviewed sources are sources that are scholarly, they're academic. In this case, I'm not asking anyone to look over another classmate's sources, not at all. Plus, when it comes to peer-reviewed sources, the rejection rate of these sources is around 90%, at least the first few drafts. What that means is when a scientist submits their research to a journal article, many times other peers, other specialists in that field will look over their paper, look over their research and reject it and send it back for revisions. That's peer-reviewed, and that's what I'm looking for. A lot of non-peer-reviewed sources are a lot of the sources that we may find through a simple Google search, something along those lines, meaning that an author writes it, an editor may review it, it's published, it's out there, and that is it. That is not what I'm looking for by any means. So to find these peer-reviewed sources, I'm expecting everyone to go and use the school library database. And I included a link right here directly to the database. You could go to the Solano homepage and search for the library if you wish, or you can just press this link right here. So since I'm off campus, then a window pops open for me to enter my credentials. At this point, you'll enter your same credentials as well, the same credentials you'll use to log on for courses and so forth. So I'm gonna log in. So now I have the link on that's connected to EBSCO. EBSCO is a very, very popular database search that a lot of us typically use. There is an option to use OneSearch. I typically don't use OneSearch. I mean, it's great, it's phenomenal. However, it finds other sources outside of what I'm expecting for this assignment. I'm looking for database, peer-reviewed journal articles only. Word search will pull up database articles, periodicals, books, movies, and so forth. We don't want that at all. So this is the page, at least the link directs us to. So now let's go back to our research question. So for this exercise, I used this research question, which reads, what is the impact of attending school for poor minority children in urban areas? That's the question. Now, by now, all of you have your own research question. So it may be useful if you have your updated research question on the screen or something nearby for you. Now, you may remember that I said that it's unlikely you'll find one resource that'll answer your specific question, which is completely fine, completely fine. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna look for some keywords in my research question, put them in the field, and then start to search. So I'm looking for impact of, let's see, impact attending school, poor children. Let me add another field here. Minorities. There we go. Haha. Before I go any further, I want to include the full text and also scholarly. The reason why I want the full text is that I want the entire article. If this is deselected, then it may find some sources which is either partial or just an abstract and so forth. It does me no good. The second component is I'm going to ensure that the filter is chosen for scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles, because that's what I'm looking for. All right, I have my 4 items over here that I'm going to search for. Now let me search. Let's see if I have any results whatsoever. Okay, so as of now, I have 3 sources. That is fantastic. At the same time, I'm looking and I notice that the second one reads in South African. Keep in mind that my focus is in the United States, so I'm not going to use that one at all. So just as well, let me just include United States only. I'll search again. Let's see what happens. Oh, just one. Interesting. Okay, actually, let me take this out. Search again. And now I'm going to skim through the first and the third source. Okay, looks good. Actually, as of now, I'm just going to leave it as is. The reason why I'm going to leave it as is some of us may start to find that there's virtually no sources whatsoever. So there's a few things we could do. The first thing we could do is either we can change the keywords that are right over here in our search field, which is completely fine. Another option is we can include more databases in the search. So right now, it's just searching through academic search complete. Let's select all of them. Minus the note reads that it may result in a slower response time. I'm fine with that. I think I paid my cable bill. Let's see what happens. But another thing is, since I modified the databases, I need to make sure that my search items are still in the fields and I still have full text and scholarly peer-reviewed selected as well. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. So now I'm gonna search again. All right, good. 5. Nice. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to open up these articles in a separate tab. The reason why I open up the articles in a separate tab is I'm going to keep this main tab right here as my search engine will say. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to delete these other tabs because it'll be easier for me to manage. Okay, do I want this? Sure. Right now I'm just gonna right click. Okay, I'm gonna right click. There we go. Open this up in a new tab. Started to directory. I didn't want that. Okay, do I want Tanzania? No, I do not. Okay, this is inaccessible. Okay, pop this one open in a new tab. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that alone. So far I have maybe 2 articles, but I don't know anymore. How about this? Outcomes. Let's change that keyword. Now let's see what results we find. Let's see, just a few again. Okay, open this in a new tab. Nepal, no. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus just the United States or USA. Sometimes just moving the keywords around in different fields yields different results as well. Let's see, it's working. Nothing, okay. Take that out. Move that around. Let's see what we find. All right, there's a lot more. Let's pop that open right here. What I'm doing is I'm skimming through just the topic or the title of these articles, and then I'm popping them open in another tab. All right, that's enough for now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each of these articles, looking at the tabs. So here's a research peer-reviewed journal article. So if you look at this article, it looks academic, plain, and dry. What I mean by that is looking at it, there's just text. Now, if I were to just search into Google, as far as my research question, more than likely we'll find a lot of non-peer-reviewed sources. Right now I'm just skimming through some of these titles. Now it may look peer-reviewed, it may not. One easy indicator is non-peer-reviewed sources are fancy, they're colorful, there's advertisements and so forth. Looking at this website right here, it looks like it has some data, just data, but it's not research. See, Science Daily, whatever this is, looks like it has some information on the article. The article itself isn't provided, but if you look around, here we go. Here's some links to connect to Facebook, Twitter, advertising on the side. That's a no-go. Here's the Atlantic, which is a periodical, advertisements all over. Pretty, look at this. Images. This is a no-go. Other source right here, looks like it's pretty short, a description. This is questionable. It may work. I do say that if you ever find an article like this and you think it may work, then record this information and then search for it in the school's library database. There's another one. See Brookings. See more links, more ads. If someone wants to share the article, that's a no-go. All right. So that's one easy way to determine between peer-reviewed and non-peer-reviewed. So let's go back to the article. So let's say that we think this article may be useful. The easiest way to approach this, or even to make that decision, is to look at the abstract. The abstract is at the very beginning of the article. This abstract describes and summarizes the entire article within maybe 200 words. Start to read through it. If it answers your question, at least enough of your question, and you want to keep it, then I suggest downloading it, saving it, or sharing it to your cloud. If you find an article that doesn't have an abstract, okay, this one has an abstract, great. This one has an abstract, great. This one has an abstract. Well, let's say that this article does not have an abstract. Then the next option is to read the introduction really quickly. If you can't find what you're looking for in the introduction, then just jump down to the very, very bottom and look for the conclusion or the discussion. And by reading the discussion, the last few paragraphs, the last section, then that'll summarize the journal article as well. At that point, then you can start to make your decision whether or not you want to keep the article. So let's say that you're interested in this article that it somewhat answers the question, or at least part of the question. Since I'm using Google Chrome, once I place my mouse to the upper right-hand corner of the screen, there's a download button right here. There we go, right here. So once I download it, press right there, download, gives me the option to download the file. All right, so I'm gonna download it. So now it's saved onto my desktop. So let's say I read this article and I think I want it, it's pertinent to answer my question, then I'll download it as well. Great. Let's see, this article right here, let's say, is this useful? Does it kind of answer my question? Not enough, then I'll just close it. Why bother? Okay, here's another article. All right, let's say this looks good. Sweet. Look at this article right here. Consequences of adolescent employment. Does this have anything to do with my question? No. So I'm just close that. Now I'll say hypothetically that this article right here is useful as well. So I'll download it and I'll save it. Fantastic. All right, so now I have 4 articles. So now let me return back to the assignment, which is right here. Now it's time to submit the assignment. So I'm going to choose submit assignment. Then it drags down to the very bottom. At this point, I have the option to upload my files. So I'm going to choose the file. It's on my desktop. There we go. So I'm going to add that file. I want to add another file. Add another file. And one more. Great. So now I've attached all 4 files. And notice that they're all PDFs. Even when I downloaded them, they were all PDFs. And from there, I'll simply submit the assignment, and then I am done. Voila. Do any of you have to summarize the sources? No, not at all. What I'm looking for is to verify that we're finding sources that somewhat answer our question. So if we find some sources that answer part of our question, then that'll do. If anything, it's akin to building a case. These sources are data. That's what it is. And with this data, then hopefully we'll be able to answer our research question. So if anyone has any questions to me about anything whatsoever, then please feel free to contact me at any time whatsoever. Alrighty? All right.